Hi, I'm Denise Dryden, and I've got my dear friend Ashley Fronheiser here. And the two of us want to do a weekly exploration on dimensionality. And we want to start with the Gen Xers. And we have so much to talk about because we're both these integrational energy specialists. And, what else are we, Ashley? We are historians. What? Keep going, talk.
Magical historians. Denise and I both found that we are, though Denise is older than me, we share a lot of common things in our background. That we both were history majors in college, both were studying magic in all sorts of different kinds of ways. We both realized that we both were on the diving team in high school, which is very, very interesting. So there's so much shared there. It's going to be really great. So I work as a clinical metaphysician for children. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I am very much a practically, you know, masterful in what I do, working clinically with children and adolescents and young adults. But I also do it in a very unconventional, magical kind of a way. So it
So
combining
cool.
the two. And
So
so he's as an integration coach. Actually, who was my integration coach and who will always be my integration coach as well. I'm just letting her know that. We came together on a lot of different things. We come together, but one thing that came that was really cool is that, you know, right now in the world, we are in this phase where we are expanding every day, everybody here on the globe and the planet, and it's the planet is becoming more multidimensional. And as we are all really coming into and embodying all these different frequencies and energies all the time, coming in not knowing sometimes what to do with them, figuring out what to do with this one, not knowing to do with this one. And it came that when we start where you start was when it came in. And Denise came up with, you know, it was called into her awareness like Gen X. And that's where Gen X is birthing multidimensionality here on planet Earth, and Gen X often gets overshadowed. And I think that by Denise, you bringing it up, it you could say what people have come to you with.
well, what I'm noticing over and over again is that it's a highly taxed, exhausted, and sort of don't know how to validate how important their role has been in our culture. And what I think we can do is be a safe place, a really nurturing place where we kind of look you right in the eye and we're like, wow, you matter because this work that you did, working with breaking apart family systems, where you're breaking apart the way that you went to school, breaking apart your independence from these old traditional baby boomer, and predecessing generations. You unlocked all of that really rapidly. And I'm thinking that as you Gen Xers, right, began to explore all of the different possibilities and roles that you had, what's happened is the doors have just been flung open with each generation, with each decade, and our children have so much more freedom because you did. So what we want to do is we want to talk about things like freedom. We want to talk about education. We want to talk about, I got notes here so I don't forget. We want to look at, playfulness. We want to look at where the multidimensionality resides and really empower that. So we've got about maybe 30 minutes. She's got a great card. Ashley's got a great card. Look at this David Bowie deck.
Yeah, and I picked David Bowie because that seemed to be
Of course.
right in line with what we were talking about. And this is the Three of Wands, and it is like the experience. It's actually a really good card if you're familiar with the tarot, but if not, just the three is manifestation, it's completion, it's something that you're embarking upon, you're ready to do. Things come like this guy, it looks a little hectic, but this guy isn't going to be he's prepared to walk into what is this kind of, I don't know, whole new way of living in this. Well, this is a very multidimensional card looking thing because it's all at once. And this is kind of what Gen X did when it came in. It's like, okay, I'm here now, and there's a whole lot of stuff that's way new that I am going to tackle and I'm going to do it. And having being prepared, power, and with it's using power instead of force. And prior to Gen X coming in, there was a lot of force and the misuse of power. And this generation really started to even out the power a little bit. This was the first generation where it was not in any way blinked an eye, at least in Western society, for women to be in college, for women to work in and share a two-income household, for people to be not just somebody's wife, they were a teacher, a mother, a friend, a taekwondo black belt, the
Yeah.
head of some organization as well. Like that's multidimensionality. If you want to break it down, it doesn't mean something that's super woo woo. It means this is the first generation where you could be more parts of yourself. And one thing that comes to mind is something that has landed in my awareness. And if, like many people who would be interested in this are very intuitive. I was born with super great gifts to see, know, feel, experience, but I didn't really think of them as so super when I was a kid, of course, because I was terrified. But until I've taken a lifetime so far to work on that. But the thing that comes to mind is this little note that some of my wonderful guides have given me is people don't ever change. They just use different parts of themselves. And that to me is cool because, with David Bowie with changes, it's kind of cool that came up with this card because people do change the way that they do things, but the way they change is because they can use a different part of themselves. So that Gen X generation can really do, and that was the generation where people started making changes in how they did
Everything.
things,
Yeah.
everything.
So
So
hold that card up for a second and look at the technology, look at the swirls, look at the information that's hanging above and below that's just ready to be observed or played with or embodied, and sort of the navigating through what could look like chaos to some or so exciting because there's so much dynamic energy coming from each of those yellow gold systems in and around this person standing there. So that reflects so beautifully the options and the choices that Gen Xers get to and have been making since they were born. I
yeah,
love this card, Ash.
no, it's amazing. Denise is an amazing card reader, but also
We play with cards, the two of us.
I'm student of the art of tarot, and she's excellent at it. So that interpretation that just came forward was sensational. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. And as a person on the tail end of Gen X, um, and that's something that we'll talk about when we have, when we sit down again, is where kind of defining the generation by certain astrological positions as well, which actually might sound, oh, great, here they go with the astrological positions. No, it'll make a lot of sense because for the majority of Gen X, where the meat of Gen X, the middle, that part was the
Chiron
Chiron.
in Aries, which is I am. How do you step into the ownership of the I am presence? This is who I am. I'm in a body. What am I going to do with this body? What are my skill sets? How am I going to go forward? And if that's rocked and the wound is there, then what we want to do with some of this information we talk about is we want to empower, change, shift, educate, like just go like, yeah, this is who you are. And this is what you've been able to accomplish. So I think this is going to be a really fun little series we do here.
For sure. And also, this is when the access opened up, like
Mhm.
access to things opened up, like to go more places. Of course, we're still always working for more access for everyone, but this was a generation where the most people probably historically um, in we're not going to go as far back to Atlantis and Lemuria. Let's stick within the last 2,000 years. Most people, this was the time where people had probably the most access to as much collectively, at least in Western society, and in some other parts of Eastern society as well, like to more things. And this is an open horizon. The horizon was different, for this generation, and really different. Um,
Oh,
and
look, cracked open. The whole world cracked open and said, do you want to do it differently?
Yeah, and Gen X doesn't get a whole lot of like, maybe the light doesn't shine on them as much as maybe would be good if it did, like they kind of get a little passed by. We got the strong boomers and you got the millennials, and that's who seems to be always at it. But then there's this little thing in the middle that's like, hi, yeah, you can do all this stuff too. I don't want to bother you, like but
That's your experience. My experience with Gen Xers is like, stop,
yeah,
back. No, I'm going to do this. Let me, and it's this powerful, beautiful independence. And like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm winging it and it's working. So just stop talking to me and don't put any
that
of
is true. I would say that's true.
your old onto me, right? And I'm on the flip side, which is, I'm like 59, 60, right? So right at the before the Gen X started. However, the end of each generation always sort of gravitates towards the younger one. And I just wanted to be a Gen Xer. So in so many
Yeah.
ways, I broke through as many barriers as humanly possible, which was very frustrating for my family and for
Yeah.
my friends and for everybody around me. And, we've talked about that with indigo stuff as
Mhm.
well. And who knows where we're going to go with this. We're going to bring in maybe we're going to bring in some astrology. We're going to bring in some history. We're going to bring in some family systems, and we're going to bring in the metaphysical energy understanding so that you really know how to access the power that you are given. And
Yeah, the magical components are really, really cool because that's gonna, and what is useful and what your power that lies within you that you're filled with actually can be utilized for, and that you guys are really are incredible energy movers because you can physically be in a lot of different places in a very short amount of time. One here, there, the other place, starting this, blah, 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 everything. Imagine if you could just sit and do that with your energy. What that so I mean but you took the hard route, which is Gen X took the hard route. They're moving here, 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 here. Imagine if you just could sit and do that with another aspect of your field, and it would be like, wow, this is actually, wow, you really do have it. Really explore those magical sides of it too, which would be great. I look forward to it. So thank you, Denise, for having me do this with you. I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be great. So we're going to do this live Wednesdays at 10:30 Mountain Time, 12:30 Eastern Time, because we are in two different time zones. And we'll do it on Zoom and then package it up and get it out there as soon as possible on YouTube, on our social media site, and you'll be able to find us. So spread the word, and we will see you next week.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.